Hello, my name is PJ Smith, and I am assistant principal at Northwest High School in Grand Island, Nebraska. And Ron Higdon has asked me to do an informational video on district wrestling tournament setup, how it works, maybe work through some ins and outs just to make you feel more comfortable in running a tournament at the district level there. So, first and foremost, track wrestling does a great job of setting up the whole tournament as far as they'll have a number scheme ready for you. They'll have the bracket type set up for you already. Most of the tournament itself, other than seating the kids and doing mat assignments, applying your number schemes, loading the mats, but all the infrastructure stuff is already done for you. So big thank you for track wrestling on doing that. So to start off with, when you're hosting districts, the NSAA and track wrestling will send you out information as far as due dates, and that'll already be plugged into track wrestling as well, as far as when they have to have their rosters in by and when's the last time they can take wrestlers out, and all that stuff will be done for you, but you'll get emails on that. When all the rosters have been turned in, the first thing you're going to want to do, though, is you're going to want to go in and make sure that the wrestler's record that the coaches put in matches up with the record that track wrestling finds based on their stat program. So what you're going to do first and foremost when the wrestlers have been put in from all of the teams is you're going to go through each weight class and you're going to make sure the records match up. More than likely, you're going to have some that do not. And if they don't, it's because of a couple different things. Either the coach didn't put a tournament down as a varsity tournament sometime during the season, so those wins and losses didn't get put in on the track wrestling side correctly, or that wrestler wasn't put in as a varsity wrestler and he should have been, or vice versa. Either way, if you let the coaches know that their record does not match up with the one that track wrestling fetched, they will be able to figure it out. You just need to let them know what record track wrestling fetched so they can figure out where they went wrong. And they'll be able to figure it out. And once they figure it out, they'll fix it on their end so the records will match. So what you do first and foremost is you go to bracketing and you do seed build brackets. And in order to check records, what you do is you click the seeding criteria button, which checks all the wrestlers off at that weight bracket. And then you fetch the NSAA criteria. Then you go back and you click all the wrestlers again and you view the seed report. That'll pop up another screen. What you do is you click on each wrestler and their record is right there, 49-5. Now these records are not going to match up because this is the record that track wrestling has at the end of the year after the state tournament and after districts. So this is an old district that you're seeing. So that's why none of these records will match up. But you look at that record and you go to your original screen at the seating part and you see that they don't match up. So what you would do then is you would send an email, and I would go through all the weight classes and write the teams' names down and write all the wrestlers that are not right, and then send one email to each coach and let them know which wrestlers don't match up. But you can see 49-5, 43-4. I would email Coach Seabrandt and say, hey, something's not right here. Your records aren't matching up to what the track wrestling fetched. So you go to the next wrestler, 28-3. You look, it says 26-2. Okay, so obviously something's not matching up there again, and you would do that. Once you go through that weight class, you go to the next weight class, 113, and you do the same thing. Fetch the criteria for all of them, check them all again, view the seed report, and then compare the wrestler's record in here with the one you see in there. So that's what you do. The goal is, and you have to make sure that all the records match up here and when you fetch it. So before you have your seeding meeting the day of the tournament, all of those need to match up, all those records. Now, once you've done that, the next thing you're going to want to do is once the records are all matched up, you're going to want to go and do pre-seeds for your coaches. And the way you do that is you're basically going to find all the wrestlers in each weight class that have a winning record or a 500 record. So anything 500 or above, you are gonna seed. So I'm gonna check mark all the wrestlers here that have at least a 500 record. And so what you do then is you fetch the NSAA criteria, then you go through and you check those same wrestlers off. And you view the seed report. And it seeds them based on points. Okay, so if you want to look at the points, you can click on the wrestler, and it'll show how they got a point. What it does is it compares each wrestler. It'll compare Grady Aarons to each wrestler in the bracket that you are seeding. So it'll compare Grady to the rest of these 5 here. So as you can see, Grady got a point because it compares head-to-head first, and he's 3 to Devin's 0, so he got a point. Okay, and all these here, these first 2 are decided on head-to-head. This third one here, Daniel and Grady did not have head-to-head, so it goes to common opponents. Daniel was 1-3, Grady was 5-0. Now I do want to say on common opponents here, if they've split with each other, it won't count as a common, but if they have a winning record, it does. You'll just have to look at that common opponent and how it matches up. But as you see, Grady beat Devin every time, and Daniel lost to him both times. Okay, so now here, he had 2 wins against Giovanni and 1 loss, and he had a win. Okay, then he lost to Cole. Grady had a win. They both won that one, and then he won and he lost. So Daniel only had 1 win and 3 losses in common opponent. So as you see, the only 1 win he had that it's showing is Hayden Johnson. Even though he won this one, it doesn't count because he did have a loss there. So that's how this program is working, just so you're aware of that. That he did have 2 wins, but he had a loss. So that did not count as a win because he had that loss. So just be aware of that. But anyways, it went to common opponent second, and Grady had commons over him, so he got a point. Head-to-head, another point. Head-to-head, another point. If after common it doesn't, then it goes to state placer and state qualifier, and then record is the last thing. So let me find. Most of these are going to be decided by common since this district's already done, or head-to-head, so we're not going to see that. But it does look at head-to-head first, then common, then state placer, then state qualifier, then varsity record. That's how it goes when it compares each wrestler. So it seeded them based on points. You get out of there. Then what you do is you hit save seeds. And that's all you do for now to pre-seed it. Then you go to the next weight class. You click all the 500 records or better. Again, I only got 3 here. And then you fetch the criteria. Oh, my apologies. Fetch the criteria on all of them. And hit view the seed report. 2-1-0. So has Tristan 1, Thomas 2, Landon 3, save seeds. You do that for each. Now, if there is a tie, it usually works it out. If you look in here on points, and let's say it was 1-1-0, then what you need to do is just go back to, let's say it was 1-0. So we're going to compare Thomas and Tristan only, if those are the 2 that's tied. So you just compare those 2, fetch the NSA criteria again, and then view the seed report. Usually it'll work it out. Usually when you just compare the ties, it will work it out. So if you do have ties, it will work it out. But when you're doing pre-seeds and it shows that the points are tied, go ahead and compare those 2. It'll show that it's working out. So just make sure you understand that. So that's what you do on pre-seeds. Once you do that, then what you do is you do all the pre-seeds for all the weights. Then you're going to go up and you're going to go to print documents, and that'll be our second video where we pick up with to print. You're not going to print it, but you're going to put it on a spreadsheet for your coaches. So video 2 will be how you send